Welcome to Season 2, Episode 1 of the Southerners podcast, Teacher Talks, where you can get to know more about your teachers. We have rebranded our podcast from the interview show to Teacher Talks. I'm Sarah Sun.
And I'm Lily Wu.
And in this episode, we interviewed Mr. Amelio, an English teacher here at Great Neck South High. Hello, Mr. Amelio.
Hello, Sarah Sun, I think. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, pretty good. Yeah, Friday. I'm a little wiped out, but I'm good. Yeah.
So thank you for doing this short interview with us for our podcast. We have a few questions for you today.
My pleasure.
So firstly, could you briefly introduce yourself?
Sure. My first name is Vincent. Last name is Amelio. I've been teaching in this district for 30 years, which is really hard to believe. I have a family. My wife and I have one daughter who's 14. I love dogs. I like modern furniture? No, that's George Orwell. That's my George Orwell imitation. Right. Quite right. No, that's George Orwell. I love teaching. I find grading papers to be difficult, but the act of teaching and working with teenagers I love and still love. And I am a writer. I write plays and screenplays, and I try to be truthful with people too. That's about it.
I heard you've been teaching for around 35 years. That's a really long time. So how do you think the students' perception of English has changed since the time you began teaching till now? Like, has technology impacted it?
Technology has impacted. I think that students are less inclined to read now. And I want to be honest and be respectful when I say that, because all of us are pulled by technology, which in some ways is very helpful and in some ways it's negative. So I think when I started teaching, students were more inclined to read longer assignments. Now the assignments are shorter, but I don't think they're easier, they're just shorter. So the change I've seen is a shortening of the attention span.
Since previously you mentioned that you're writing screenplays, so do you mind going into detail to explain your work a little bit?
No, I'd be happy to. I'm trying to write a screenplay based on the movie It's a Wonderful Life, which is a great holiday movie written in 1946. It's about a man who starts with him at a low point, and an angel who's a incompetent loser of an angel has not gotten into heaven yet. His name is Clarence, and the line in the movie is that he has to save someone's life to earn his wings. And he's been trying for 200 years to get out of purgatory.
Longer than you've been teaching.
Longer than I've been teaching. And he comes back to try to help George Bailey, and he shows George that the life he's lived has really been a wonderful one, it's been worthwhile. So I had a play called How Alpha Learned to Love, about a young man in his 30s who didn't know how to commit to marriage and love. And I want to make it wider and a bigger story, so it encompasses him learning from his mistakes and seeing his life differently. So that's one. The other one that I am interested in is what they call a contained thriller. And a contained thriller, and I'll be very candid here, means that it has very few characters and it takes place in one setting. And the contained thriller will be about a woman who has a wedding dress malfunction the day of her wedding, but then when trying to find a new dress, gets accidentally locked in the basement of the warehouse for dresses and misses her whole wedding. And someone is trying to seek revenge against her for something she did to him in childhood. And she has to get out to get to her wedding.
Wow,
but that's a contained thriller, that's it.
That's really interesting. That's really
cool. It's
cool.
fun, it's intense, but they're hard to write. They're not easy, you know.
All right. So aside from writing, because obviously you're a great writer, so what other activities do you enjoy? Like, for example, you mentioned that you play on and manage like a baseball team.
I love playing baseball, and I chose to manage this men's 45 and over team because I wanted to be able to control what position I would play. I had very selfish reasons, because you go there to play and you wind up having to play wherever the coach tells you. So I love baseball, and it just makes me happy. And I play third base, first base. So my hobbies and passions consist of, in addition to teaching, playing baseball, bike riding, watching comedies with my wife and my daughter. And I'm kind of obsessed with our dog. We have a dog named Tucker, who's just really fun. I also have started to become active in my church. Do some volunteer work there. So I pray and it helps me to stay kind of a little more relaxed at times. I also started something I want to share with you. I'm doing volunteering for a blind baseball team. I want to explain that. It's a national organization called Beep Baseball. And the players are blind. They're visually impaired. And the ball is very large and it beeps. And the pitcher stands 15 feet away, and I pitched, and you throw the ball to where they take their practice swing. And we had a game recently at the Long Island Ducks Stadium in Suffolk County, and I went there and played catcher, and it's really touching because the name of the team is the Long Island Bombers, and it's a real team, and every year in the summer they go down to the Beep Baseball World Series, and you help the players to walk from the bench to home plate, and you tell them where to stand, and then they run to either first or third. But what I like about it is that it helps me to stop complaining about my own life, because you see how hard it is for these people, and they are out there playing hard. And I'm not exaggerating, that they cannot see, they're blind. You can look it up, the Beep Baseball.
I really like those organizations that try to include different groups of people in these activities that everyone should enjoy, and I think that's really cool.
Oh, thank you. I only started doing it recently. We're always looking, seriously, for vision impaired young people. So if you know of any schools that have vision impaired students, please let me know, because we're looking for new players. I'm not the manager, I'm a volunteer. I'm the pitcher and the catcher. Long Island Bombers.
I also think that it's really cool that all the people there are just being treated normally, like a normal person, like a normal player, instead of playing special stuff.
No, they are, and the manager yells at them sometimes, and it's fun. And this is the most poignant thing about it. So.
That's really inspiring. And my next question is, how does managing and participating on this team connect to your role as a teacher?
I think it connects because you have to clearly explain what you want others to do and why you need them to do it. And I think that it also helps me to become more flexible with the right situation. Because as much as we try to teach one way, if it doesn't work, we have to switch immediately to a different way. So, and the last point that I really want to make is that if in any career, if we do things that bring us joy and are fun, then when we come into our workplace the next day, we have more energy. And I think that more people should try to find time to do that.
So we all know that as an English teacher, you're very well versed in English language. So what other languages do you speak or are currently learning?
Oh, that's so great. I speak Spanish. I'm fully communicative in Spanish. And I'm at the basic level in Italian, because my father is fluent in Italian, but I didn't learn it from him, because my mother's Irish, I'm half and half. So I'm on Rosetta Stone for life, because they had an offer in which you paid $199 and you had a lifetime membership. So at home, I do the Rosetta Stone for Italian no more than 10 minutes. One night I did 30 minutes, and that's it. And it really works. It really works. And my daughter is taking Italian in 9th grade, so I want to be further advanced than she is. Because I want the two of us to go out to the mall and be able to talk so no one else can understand us. I think that's really cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah, just switch languages so we can have privacy. So, yeah, I like languages. I love languages. I love the way they work. And Italian is very similar to Spanish. They're Romance languages, so once you learn one, some of the words are actually similar. So that's the answer on that. Yeah.
And since you're learning Italian, would you like to say something in Italian that's like, significant to you?
Sure,
or it's
sure.
fun?
The egg is green, I'll say. Il uovo è verde. Il uovo è verde.
That is
So, well, the basics, but I'm at simple sentences. So I would also say that the milk is white. Il latte è blanca. Il latte è blanca.
That's actually really similar to Spanish.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very similar. Very similar. The other phrase, I'll say one more, and you pick out the best one, would be lei è una bicicletta. Just say she has a bicycle. That's all. Lei è una bicicletta.
That's really cool. And my next question is, how would you describe your sense of humor?
Absurdist. Absurd.
Absurd but humorous. Then what are some your hidden talents that students may not know?
I can do a fake sneeze, so you can't tell if it's real or fake. That was fake. Right? Fake sneeze. Other hidden talents. I once flipped a water bottle, so it flipped from my hand and landed on that shelf. That's all. That's enough. But the fake sneeze is the real deal. You couldn't tell, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
real. And everyone has I don't know, I feel like everyone has a unique sneeze.
Fake.
Yeah, everyone has a unique sneeze, so you can
fake
yeah, you
sneeze.
can't tell if it's real.
Oh no, I could totally do it.
So my next question would be, from your 30-ish teaching career in South High, what is your best memory from this place?
I would say when students say absurd things, not even realizing that it's absurd. The humorous things. So one student wrote, and this was not one of my students, a student wrote, "That just goes to show you how death can really change a person." A student wrote that in an essay.
In relation to the say something absurd and you don't know that it's absurd, one of my favorite quotes is, "Crazy people don't know they're crazy. I know I'm crazy, therefore I'm not crazy. Isn't that crazy?"
Yeah, that's good. It's a good point. Yeah, yeah.
It's absurdity, but ignorant absurdity.
Yeah,
to
when
the person.
someone has that the innocence to not be self-conscious, then they can be funny. The other great moments have been interacting with my colleagues in the English department. Sometimes we have some pretty fun stuff that happens there.
And this ties into my final question. So what is the best thing about working as a teacher?
I think that each day is a live performance, and you're the best thing about teaching is that it's live every day, and every day something different happens. The other great aspect of teaching is when a student asks great questions.
I've heard from another teacher here that being a teacher, you get a lot of mental stimulation and thinking on your feet throughout the day, and that is it's actually really good for you, really healthy. To have that
I think
mental
teaching keeps you
stimulation.
young. I think it does, because you're forced to come in and speak to a younger generation, and you're also forced to be positive and energetic yourself. You have to, otherwise you won't succeed. So I like the high energy of teaching. I really do. I enjoy it still very much.
So that's all for our interview today. Thank you so much for your
You're
time.
welcome. Good, you're very
Thank
welcome.
you so much.
Thank
You're
you so
welcome.
much.
Yeah.